राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, शुक्लां भरतरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये, गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः, गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः, कलये सुन्दराकारं सदैकप्रियदर्शनम् अज्ञाननाशकं देवं सद्गुरुं मुरलीधरं, मुरलीमण्डितकरकमलं मुनिजनमोहनं व्यत्यस्तपादं मनमालाधारिणं प्रेमभक्तमण्डलनित्यकीर्तितं श्रीप्रेमिकवरदम् आश्रयेऽहम्, दोर्भिर्युक्तचतुर्भिस्फटिकमणिमयीमक्षमालां दधाना, हस्ते नैकेन पद्मं सितमपि चुशुकं पुस्तकं चापरेण, भासा कुन्देन्दुशङ्खस्फटिकमणिनिभा भासमाना समाना सा मे वाग्देवतेयं निवस्तु वदने सर्वदा सुप्रसन्ना, कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं, वाल्मीकेर्मुनिसिंहस्य कविता वनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति पराङ्गतिम्, यः पिबन् सततं राम चरितामृतसागरम् अतृप्तस्तं मुनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसमकल्मषम्, गोष्पदीकृतपारसिं मशकीकृतराक्षसं रामाय नमःमाला रत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम्, उल्लङ्घ्य सिन्धोः सलिलं सलीलं यशोकवह्निं जनकात्मजाय आदाय तेनैव तदाहलङ्कां, नमामि तं प्राञ्जलिराञ्जनेयम् आञ्जनेयमदिपाटलाननं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहम् पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि पवमाननन्दनं, यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं, मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि, वैदेहि सहितं सुरुद्रुमतले हैमे महामण्डपे मध्ये पुष्पकमासने मणिमये वीरासने सुस्थितम्, अग्रे वाचयति प्रभञ्जनसुते तत्त्वं मुनिभ्यः परम्, व्याख्यान्तं भरतादिभिः परिवृतं रामं भजे श्यामळम् वामे भूमिसुता पुरश्च हनुमान् पश्चात् सुमित्रसुतः शत्रुघ्नो भरतश्च पार्श्वदलयोर्वायुवादिकोणेषु च सुग्रीवश्च विभीषणश्च युवराट् तारासुतो जाम्भवान् मध्ये नीलसरोजकोमलरुचिं रामं भजे श्यामळम् नमोऽस्तु रामाय सलक्ष्मणाय देव्यै च तस्यै जनकात्मजायै नमोऽस्तु रुद्रेन्द्रयमानिलेभ्यो नमोऽस्तु चन्द्रार्कमरुद्गणेभ्यः वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना सकृदेवः प्रपन्नाय तवस्मीति च याचते अभयं सर्वभूतेभ्यो ददाम्येतद्व्रतं मम श्रीहरये नमः श्रीहरये नमः श्रीहरये नमः जानकीकान्तस्मरणं जय जय राम राम आंजनेय स्वामी की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः राधे राधे to all of the Bhagavatas present here. We all have been enjoying the nectarine blissful katha of Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra Prabhu, which is fully due to the grace and kripa, the avyaja kripa, which is costless mercy. It's a very beautiful padam in Sanskrit called avyajam, meaning there is no vyajam, there is no reason. It's swabhava for Gurunathar and Bhagavan to shower their mercy and grace on us. So likewise, our Guru Maharaj and Bhagavan, along with his divine consort Madhuri Sakhi Sameta Shri Premikar the Thakurji, have been immensely benevolent in giving us this kathamrita in the form of vAk arpanam. It is arpanam for everyone. It is arpanam for the vakta. It is arpanam for the shrota. It is arpanam for anyone who engages in anything to do with the katha shravanam. Because our Guru Maharaj, when he talks about the phalasuti of Bhagavata Pravachanam, he says that not only the vakta, not only the shrotas get the uttama phalan, which is Bhagavan himself, right? There is no other higher phalan than Bhagavan himself. But it is not only the vakta and shrota, it is actually anyone who arranges even anything, even if you called someone, even if you take care of the parking at in our satsangs where we have it in our Namadwaars. If there's a lot of cars, then there's someone managing the parking, etc., right? So even those who are doing different types of kainkarya are all blessed with the same phala, because they are contributing to such a uttama karya, which is katha shravanam, which the Mahatmyam we have already seen last week with Bhagavata Mahatmyam and Srimad Bhagavata Katha. And today we are about to go back into this nectarine. There's no other word to describe it, because it is such an ocean of amrita. Because Ramayana, when Malniki Maharishi began to write Ramayana, which is when Narada Maharishi, we heard the story in Rama Jananam, where Narada Maharishi incites that will in Valmiki Maharishi to write Ramayana. It seems very beautifully they used to say the alankaras, that is in Sanskrit, or any language, there are different ways you can model the language, right? There are different ways, and Sanskrit is especially beautiful in terms of chandas, which is the meters it has, or the alankaram, which is how beautifully you can improve the aesthetics of a certain verse. It is done very beautifully. It is very minute, but to the trained eye, you can find out how beautiful. So all of these shlokas are in Srimad Ramayanam, especially. And when Valmiki Maharishi began writing Srimad Ramayana Mahakavyam, it seems these alankaras and chandas came in the form of beings. They came in the form of beings, and it seems they pleaded to him to be part of Srimad Ramayana. Every single alankara, every single chandas. You have different chandas, right? You have Anushtup chandas, you have Trishtup chandas, you have Pankti, Brihati. You have so many different chandases, right? Which is meters. Like in English, if many of us have read Shakespeare, even though it is a bit bland, bit out of date for today, Shakespeare employs a very beautiful meter called iambic pentameter in Shakespearean plays. So that is a form of meter, and all our Sanskrit kavyas are all they are set to a certain chandas. They are very beautifully set to a certain chandas, and this Ramayana Mahakavya is so great that the chandas themselves fought as to who wants to be part of this Ramayana Mahakavyam. So I am immensely grateful to be part of this vAk arpanam, along with so many other great Bhagavatas, great exponents of Srimad Ramayana who have been delivering their katha. Most recently, we had our Venkat Swami Mama, who was the Purva Pravachana Karta, deliver a beautiful soul-stirring pravachan on Jatayu Moksham, and the first bhaga of Aranya Kanda. It was nectarine and beautiful to listen to that. And today we are going to continue with the second part of Aranya Kanda. And today specifically, even though there are many aspects to the Uttara Bhaga of Aranya Kanda, there is Kabanda Charitram, there is Ayomukhi Charitram, and so on and so forth. Today we are going to focus on what, at least in my humble opinion, is the pinnacle of our beliefs, being part of this Bhagavata Dharma, which is Nama Mahima, Satsanga Mahima, and Guru Mahima, all combined into this one account of Shabari Moksham. Shabari Moksham is actually, if you think about it, it's not like a big sarga. If you read Pattabhisheka Sarga, which we are going to see later, is such a huge sarga. It's such a huge sarga. It takes about 20-25 minutes to read just one sarga. But Shabari Moksham is a very small sarga. But even though it is small, it beholds such greatness. It beholds such greatness because all of this, everything our Bhagavata Dharma stands for, is so perfectly encapsulated in this Charitra of Shabari. And first, when we think about Satsanga Mahima, it is something we are used to discussing, and we all attend Satsangas, which is why we are all part of such a, like a Katha series, because we get to rejoice it. See, the thing is, our Guru Maharaj has a beautiful quote, which is, one solitary flower has fragrance. Does not mean it does not have fragrance, but if you have a bouquet, if you have a garland of flowers, how the fragrance increases multifold, right? Same way, Bhagavatam or Ramayana Parayanam and Katha Shravanam, you doing it alone is very good. It is Uttamam. But sharing that rasa, sharing that bhava, when you're listening to Katha, that moment where you look at the person next to you and say, aha, what kind of a point this was. When you look at that and you appreciate the beauty which Bhagavan's gunas, and the Ramayana is nothing but Bhagavan's gunas, right? Because Valmiki Maharishi takes every opportunity to describe Rama Guna. He takes every opportunity to describe Rama Guna. So Satsanga is required for that. The only people who can, sustain in this world without any Satsanga is if you're a Brahmanishta or a Brahmagnani. Because at that, it's a technically complicated term to use. Not to say that they don't need a Satsanga. Technically, the whole cosmos is their Satsanga, because they have realized the whole cosmos is Brahma Swarupam. That means the whole cosmos is their Satsanga. But it looks to us that, they're ekanta, they like to be in ekanta, which is also fine, but that only applies normally to Brahmanishtas. It does not apply to, normal people like myself, because we all need this constant, nudging. We all need this constant nudging to stay on the right path. And this reminds me of a beautiful incident, beautiful leela, which occurs in Yugala Geetam, in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Yugala Geetam, there is this gopi who describes how skillful Bhagavan is at, maintaining his cows. And it seems what Bhagavan used to do was, he used to graze a lot of cows, right? There were about, they were in the thousands. He used to graze that many cows. And he has to maintain some pace, right? If you're grazing, you can't say, oh, that first cow can go graze whenever, and the last cow can come whenever. You have to lead the pack, right? You have to lead the pack. Bhagavan leads the pack, right? So what Bhagavan does is, he actually pairs up the cows. So let's say a cow is going very fast, right? He pairs it with a really slow cow which he wants to catch up, and he pairs both of them so that they maintain the pace with the pack. This is, this I think is exactly the concept which Bhagavan has made with Satsanga, because there are Mahatmas who are, the cows which lead the pack. They are, Brahmanishtas. They know what to do. They have already attained Bhagavan. They have seen Bhagavan. You have to always remember, when we talk about Tyagaraja Swami or Purandara Dasar, they didn't write kirtanas after, they didn't write kirtanas before they saw Bhagavan. They wrote all of that after they saw Bhagavan. So it is all their anubhava, right? So we have those Mahatmas, and then there are Samanya Jivas like myself, who are tied along with this Gurunathar, who is a Kalpaka Vriksha, who is Kamadhenu. He's the chief of the pack. And once we are tied to him, he takes us along with him. So we can't afford to, lose space. It's not even possible, because if you're tied to something, physics tells us that law of inertia, right? An object at rest stays at rest. But if it's moving, and you are at rest, you have to inevitably move. There is no choice for you, right? There is no choice for you. So that is how Bhagavan has beautifully paired up in the Srishti with our Gurunathar, who will lead us through this samsara sagara without even our help. We don't even need to contribute to this. Even if we are durachara, if you have dushila, whatever you may be, Gurunathar will take you across the ocean of samsara because of his capability. He does not see how you are. There is no entry criteria to, coming to a satsanga, a Mahapurusha satsanga. You don't need an entry criteria. All you need is the kripa of the Guru. The Guru has to do smaranam. This bhakta has to come to my satsang. Like we see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Charitram, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Charitram, Mahaprabhu in his satsanga is, in an unmatta nilai, which in English, I cannot translate it exactly, but it is the state of ecstasy. He's in the state of ecstasy. And when he's in the state of ecstasy, and when he's doing nritya and he's thinking about Bhagavan, suddenly he calls out names of certain Bhagavatas. That means the Guru actually has to do smaranam of the Bhagavatas for them to come, which we even see in Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's Charitra. He knows when that disciple is going to come to him. He knows when the disciple is going to come to him. So all we are is just actors in this divine play of Bhagavan and Gurunatha. And Satsanga Mahatmyam, we see it in many places, but there is specifically an incident given in Ramayana Mahatmyam. Just like how we have Bhagavata Mahatmyam, there is Ramayana Mahatmyam. And that Ramayana Mahatmyam, there is this beautiful story of the king and queen of Avantika. So Avantika might ring some bells, because when we are talking about the Sapta Moksha Puris, we all the children all read about this in Gopakutiram, right? When we think about the Sapta Moksha Puris, we have Kashi, we have Kanchi, then we say Avantika. This Avantika is a Moksha Puri, because it is believed that if you live, or you go to this Moksha Puri, you will attain moksha, this birth, without fail. Right? You will attain moksha, this birth, without fail. So they were actually the king and queen. They were the rulers of Avantika, and they were great listeners of Ramayana. And great listeners in the sense, It's not like, they listen to all Shastras. It's not like they listen to all the Puranas, all the Dharma Shastras, Manusmriti. They did not listen to all of that. They only focused on Ramayana. They only listened to Ramayana. So the Rishi who used to, tell them all the Katha, every court had this, one Rishi who they're known as Pauranikars. We have Suta Pauranikar, right? Pauranikars are people who, tell Purana Katha. Like that, for Bhagavad Katha, there are certain rishis who, go around telling Bhagavad Katha. So this, since this couple were so great and they were so intent on listening to Ramayana, there was this rishi called Vibandakar, who was part of this court of Avantika. And what this king and queen of Avantika used to do is, they used to conduct an Avaha Utsavam. They used to do Parayana in the morning. Then they used to sing songs about Ramachandra Prabhu. And then, in the evening, they used to listen to Ramakatha. Like this, one Navaham finishes, there's no gap. They don't want even a single day missed. So what they do is, immediately as an Navaham finishes, immediately as you read Pattabhisheka Sarga, they go back Tapaswadhyaya Niratam. There is no gap between their Parayanam or their Katha Shravanam. So this Vibandaka Maharishi was intrigued by this, because he has never seen someone listening to the same Shastra over and over again. Generally in today's world, when you listen to something over and over again, it means you didn't pay attention, right? But this Vibandaka Maharishi was very intrigued. So he asks the king and queen of Avantika, he asks them, Maharaja, Maharani, you are very ardent listeners of Ramayana, and I completely acknowledge that, and you're great Shrotas. But I have this question. There are also other Shastras, there are also other Puranas, right? But why do you always insist on listening to Ramayana? And this king and queen of Avantika apparently had Purva Janna Jnanam. They knew about their past. Not many, none of us know, right? We don't know about our past. Only Mahatmas know Trikalam. They know the past, the present, and the future. But this king and queen actually knew their past. And they say, oh, Maharishi, let us recite our past so that so that we can justify why we are only listening to Ramakatha. So there are a clan of people called Koravargal, Tumbargal, they are forest dwellers. They're generally forest dwellers. And what they do is, they are, not scavengers, but they eat remnants of what people have already consumed. Not in the sense that it's Bhagavata Uchishtam. They are usually not that learned. They will have to do it because that's their only way of getting food, and they lead a very, very hard life. They have to pick out remnants from people's foods, and that is their source of food. They may go days without food, months without food, etc. They have to be in constant search for food, and they have no nagarika. They have no values. They have no samskara. They can eat whenever they want, wherever they want, however they want. So there are people like that even today. So this king and queen of Avantika were part of this Koravargal, Tombargal Kulam, which is the clan of them. So they used to do the same thing. Their only source of food was, eating from the remnants of what people have already eaten, right? But one day, Yedrichaya, we are going to see in Shabari Charitram as well. Yedrichaya, it's not as if she thought that, oh, I should go to, Pampa Thiram, something is going to happen to me. She had no intentions. She had no thoughts about what is going to happen. She just yadrichaya. She just coincidentally went there. Coincidentally has two meanings. One is before you meet the Guru, one is after you meet the Guru. Before you meet the Guru, it is coincidence. After you meet the Guru, it is Guru Kripa. So they will get to know that it is Guru Kripa and Sadhu Sangha. So this king and queen of Avantika, who were, in their previous Janma, they were these Koravargal, right? They were these Koravargal. And they used to go around, searching for food. And one time, all the rishis were very keen on listening to this Ramayana Shastra. So there was a Ramayana Mahotsava happening at Vasishta Maharishi's ashrama. There was a Imagine, the Kula Guru of Rama himself is telling Ramayana. So all esteemed sages were present there, and they used to do Katha Shravana every day. And once, like this Navaham was going on every day, there was Katha. So the first day, this king and queen of Avantika in the Purva Ashrama, Purva Janma, who were the couple, the Veduvachi. You say Veduva Kulam, which is again it's synonymous. They're pretty close. So they coincidentally came there, and they saw that there was food, because the Maharishis, they consume food in the afternoon. And what they used to do is they used to take all the banyan leaves and put it under a tree. They used to it's biodegradable, right? They used to put it under a tree and go back and do their anushtanas, and then go back to Katha Shravana. So this was happening, and then they saw that there was a lot of food there because these Maharishis were eating. So they started consuming this, which, as we know, is Uchishtam. Uchishtam, which is the greatest thing we can ever get. We even see in Bhagavan Nama Bodhendra's Charitram. We see in his Charitram where this one child, just by consuming his Uchishta, attains such great status. So Uchishtam is so great. And they are consuming Uchishtam not for one day, but for 9 days. They're consuming all 9 days, morning, afternoon, night. All the Trikala, they're consuming it for 9 days. So imagine what high state they will be in. I'm saying for once, the child consumed once in Bodhendra Charitram already attained such high status. But now these people are consuming for 9 days straight. So they did that, and then there is no katha of them. That's it. They went back to the forest and led their life as normal. So it's not like they got jnanodayam in that janma itself. They went back to their ways. They went back to the forest. But what happened was, because they consumed the uchishta of sadhus, the next birth, they got as the king and queen of Avantika. Straight from being part of a forest clan to becoming the king and queen of Avantika. But how did they get the Ramayana interest? Anyone can become king or queen. You only need punya for that. But how did they get this interest in Rama Katha? That is the more rarer part. That's the rarer part when it comes to when it usually comes to kamyartha, or whatever we gain from doing something. Because gaining bhakti is the hardest thing. There is no hard and fast rule for gaining bhakti. There are sadhanas, you can do them, but how much should I do nama? We cannot put a number to it, right? We cannot put a number to it. So how did they get this agram, the interest to listen to Rama Katha? That is because in between meals, right? They found out the first day, they figured out the pattern that these people eat in the morning, afternoon, night, right? So they figured it out, and they said, we are going to have guaranteed food for 9 days. So let's stay here. And they used to wait in between meals. They had nowhere to go because they already got food, right? Their livelihood was just, they used to eat animals, right? So if they didn't have food, they had to go hunting, but they already had food, so they had nothing to do. So they sat down and listened to this katha. Coincidentally, they listened to this katha. They understood some parts, they did not understand some parts, but they were listening to that katha. And after that Navaham, in the next birth, that is the reason they are so interested in Rama Katha. Rama Katha. They are so interested, and they tell this Vivandaka Maharishi that, oh Maharishi, imagine we listen to one Navaham. Alpam, it is just one Navaham. It's not like we listened all our life. It's not like we did Ramayana Parayanam 100 times or 1,000 times or anything like that. Listen to one Navaham once, not even fully. We were not even, part of the actual shrotas. We were just apart from the audience. We were listening from, in India, we have these shamianas or tents, right? There are people who listen from outside the tent. They're doing some other work and they listen to it outside the tent. So these people are like that. And they tell Vibandaka Maharshi, imagine the high status we are in right now because we listen to it like that. Now, Vibandaka Maharshi, if we attain such a high status because we listen to it like that, imagine listening to Rama Katha over and over and over again with satsanga like you. When we have satsanga like you, why should we not listen to Rama Katha? And then we get to know the greatness of listening to Rama Katha. It is so pavitram because Ramachandra Prabhu's gunas are so pavitram, right? So as we listen to Rama Katha, it purifies our heart and elevates us to a very high state without even us realizing it, which is what we learn from the king and queen of Avantika in Ramayana Mahatmyam. Similarly, there is also another story in Vaishnava Samhita where it's about a couple called Govardhana and Sushila. They're a very pious couple, and they're a very pious couple, but they do not have elders to advise them. So it is very important part of our kalachara that we have elders who tell us, who give us directions as to what to do, right? Because if we don't have them, then in Tamil there's a beautiful term taduthaatkolradhu, which means there is no one to pull you back if you're going in the wrong path. If there are elders, they know dharma, you hope they know dharma, and they will pull you back in the right path, right? But in this family, unfortunately, both of them did not have parents, so they continued to live. They were a very pious couple, and they did whatever sadhana they could. And one day, it was the blessing of Bhagavan. A guru entered their house, and the guru stayed with the couple, and he gave them a beautiful navaha pravachanam on Srimad Ramayanam, and told them everything what they have to follow in a day. You get up in the morning, you do suprabhatam, then you do puja to Bhagavan, then you do aradhana, then you give Bhagavan food. They're instructing, the guru instructed one by one, as to what we should do in our day. So they took it as Guru Agnya and did all of that. But what happens later is that this Govardhana uh, becomes different, which is the guru actually, a guru is not supposed to be reliant on his shishya. The shishyas can be reliant on the guru, but the guru cannot be reliant on the shishyas. So guru thinks, I have been with this couple for so long. He stayed there for 1-2 months. So he's thinking, it is I should not get used to all these sukhas, so I should leave. And he leaves because he sees that they are very pious couple and they are doing everything according to his agnya. So he leaves them. But just kshana matra durjana sangam can cause so much harm, right? Govardhana, after the guru goes, he does all this puja, everything for 1 week. Next week he gets a slow thought, that maybe we should talk to others around in the neighborhood. And then they're all gambling, and then he thinks to himself, oh, why not gamble? It's not we are not spending any money, it's just a pastime. And he just keeps getting into the durjana sangha, and because of that he becomes very bad. He attains a very bad state. And at that time, the guru comes in the guru comes in, and then he corrects him and brings him to the right path. Generally, when we have bandhus, like friends, or even our kin in the material life, usually what we see is they're very close with us when we have everything. But when we are going in a bad path, no one tries to correct us. But the guru is the opposite. When we are undergoing sukha, he will not even come close to us. But when we are in such a bad state, that is when he will pull us out of that, and do kataksha on us. In It's hard to describe how much kripa the Gurunatha does by pulling us out of such a bad situation. And he remained with them. He remained with this couple, ensured that they went back to their dharma, and then he again left. So we see the importance of sadhu sangam, right? Even in our Guru Maharaj's kirtan, we have agacha agacha sajjana sangam magacha durjana sangam. This is very important because our Gurunatha is saying, agacha, come, sadhu sangam, magacha, leave this duch sangam. Because there is a very important reason, and the katha we all know. Parikshit Maharaja, such a great Bhagavata, he is protected by Bhagavan himself in the womb. He was the grandson of Arjuna, who was who was the the Atma Sakha of Bhagavan. And there's something which they say that, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan didn't give it to Arjuna for Arjuna. Bhagavan gave it so that he doesn't develop moha towards Arjuna. That's how much he loved Arjuna. So he came from such a great family. Parikshit Maharaja came from such a great family. But even though he came from such a great family, Kshanamapi, one minute he spent with Kali Purusha, caused him to put the snake on the Rishi, right? Caused him to put the snake on the Rishi. So if even Kshana Matra Durjana Sangha can cause someone so great like Parikshit Maharaja to fall, then what about Samanyas like us? What about Samanyas like us? That is why we need a Satsanga in order to always, charge forward in the right direction. Because we do not know the direction, because we have not attained Bhagavan. If you know where the destination is, then you can get there. But we don't even know what the destination is. So we have to believe whoever has reached the destination, which is our Gurunathar, and our Gurunathar steers us through all the obstacles and takes us to Bhagavan, which is what we learned from Sadhu Sangam. We learned this from Sadhu Sangam. And Shabari's Charitram is a pramana. It is a pramana that Satsanga Mahima, Nama Mahima, and Guru Mahima is enough to attain moksham. You have to note the point here. I said Satsanga Mahima, Nama Mahima, Guru Mahima enough to attain moksham, which means Bhagavan did not come part of this equation, right? In Sabari Moksham, it does not say Bhagavan is the moksha dhata. We see in many other places. We see for Kabanda, we see for Jatayu, we see in so many cases, even Gajendra Moksham, Bhagavan is the moksha dhata. Bhagavan gives moksham. But in Shabari's case, as we would see, Shabari saw Rama, Shabari did puja to Rama, then she sat in Padmasana and she went. She went to moksha. She did not ask Rama. She went to moksha herself, which means if you have Guru Kripa and you have Nama Bala and you're part of a Satsanga, you are guaranteed moksha. Bhagavan cannot do anything. Bhagavan cannot do anything, right? Bhagavan has to agree, because there are two reasons. One is Gurunathar and Bhagavan are the same, which we see is Guru Uruvum Hari Uruvum Oruruvagume. We see that Gurunathar and Bhagavan are the one and the same entity. So we see that the equation satisfies. But then there is another reason, is that when Bhagavan sees Guru Bhaktas, he automatically grants them the highest state. More than his Bhakta, he is more satisfied with his Bhakta's Bhakta. There is an Alvar called Tondar Adi Podi Alvar. There's an Alvar called Tondar Adi Podi Alvar. And Tondar Adi Podi means, Tondar means one who serves Bhagavan. Tondar Adi Podi Alvar. He used to serve the Bhagavatas who serve the Bhagavatas who serve the Bhagavatas who serve the Bhagavatas. He was last in the chain, it seems. He used to do service to the Bhagavatas, not to Bhagavan. He used to do service to the Bhagavatas. So that is the greatness. That is the greatness of this Shabari Charitram, which we are going to see. And Shabari, similar to who we saw earlier, we saw the Avantika Desha Raja and Rani, who were, part of the Tombargal Kulam, right? Which is the, Veduva Kulam, which is the forest clan. Shabari is part of the Shabarargal Kulam, which is also a clan which we mostly would encounter in forests. Even nowadays, we have people who live in as tribes, right? We have people who live as tribes in the northeastern parts of India. Even today, it exists even today. There are people who exist in the northeastern parts of India in tribes, right? So Shabari actually is derived from this Shabara Kulam. Since she was part of the Shabara Kulam, she is called Shabari. And Shabari, just like how the king and queen of Avantika was in their Purva Janma, Shabari did not have any samskara. Shabari did not have a Mata Pita. So she had no elders to, take her and bring her into the right path. She did not have a guru. She is going to, but not yet. She does not have a guru yet. And she does not have any, education. She has not been to a gurukulam or anything. She does not have any education. She has not even interacted with many humans. She has interacted with, hardly 2 or 3 humans in her entire lifetime. In her entire lifetime. And Shabari lived in the forest, right? So we see the rule of the forest is survival of the fittest, right? If you are very weak, you won't survive in the forest. But we see it's so intriguing and amazing when we see that when Shabari reaches Pampa Thiram, she sees all the contrasting things in nature, which we will enjoy later. But Shabari was part of this Shabara Kulam, and she had no samskara. She used to eat any animal that she could see. If she saw a deer, she used to eat it. Saw a rabbit, she used to eat it. Anything she could lay her eyes on, she would eat it. And she lived like this with no samskara. And eventually she reached Yavana. She became a yuva, Shabari. And Shabari used to do sanchara like tataka. That's what they say. Shabari used to do before she got her guru, before she got sambandham with her guru, I should say, because the guru shishya sambandham is he has been there since the beginning of time. But in this janma, I'm saying, before she met her guru, she had no samskara, she had no education, so she was just freely roaming around in the forest, just like tataka or any other being which is not very useful to the society. She was roaming like that. And as she was roaming through this forest, one day she coincidentally came to this vana which was close to Pampa Thiram, which you see Sagata Chit Palasa Panasa Patala Rasala Tala Tamala Sala Mandara Jambira Karavira Kundara Kuraraga Maduraga Kapidda Ashwatanya Grohodam Pramudda Mahiruga Samavrute Pavanachalida Latagati Vilasat Kusuma Patana Prasava Passavan Makaranda Panamatta Pravara Chankara Mugarite Kokila Mayura Koga Kala Hamsa Vayasa Karana Tavadi Kujita Harini Gana Samashita Sattva Harite Pampa Tatakanane Sancharanti Yadrichaya Kritabhisheka Kapisha Jata Kalapane Karadrita Punya Sarila Purna Kumbane Samadamadi Guna Paripurnane Samagana Parayanane Samitkusha Parala Pushpadyupahara Sampadana Tatparane Shira Paridanane Matanga Pradanane Tapodanane Nirikshe Savyaga Samprapta Chitta Paripaga Vasena Vishuddha Hridaya Nija Jivanena Nikila Pashupakshi Himsa Charanena Labda Pachatapaha Nishpapa Babuva. Shabari used to roam around the forest filled with banyan trees. It was filled with mangroves, many mango trees. There were coconut trees. There were so many different types of trees, Arjuna Vriksha, so many different types of trees and plants and shrubs. And she used to climb over these rocks and caves, and that's how her life was. Until one day, Yadrichaya, we see Pampa Tata Kanane Sancharanti, she is doing Sanchara. And then Yadrichaya, coincidentally, Bhagavan is doing Kripa. In here, Bhagavan is doing Kripa without him showing himself as Bhagavan. See, one way to look at it is Guru Kripa, and she has not realized it yet. But another way is if we see Kunti Stuti, we take Kunti Stuti, we learn that in the Virat Swarupam of Bhagavan, we hear Mayaja Vanikachannam. Bhagavan's smile is Mandahasa, is Maya. And Bhagavan is called Paroksha Priya in the Vedas. Bhagavan is called as Paroksha Priya. You see, Paroksha Priya Ivahi Deva. Bhagavan likes to hide. It's not that he wants to hide. He is in, To the jnanis, he can be seen plain-sightedly. But for us, since there is this thin covering called Maya, we cannot see him. So like that, Bhagavan has put a screen. So Sabari cannot see who is doing the kripa, but somehow she's getting that kripa. Somehow she's getting that kripa, and she reaches this Pampavana. She reaches this Pampavana, and immediately as she reaches the Vana, she attains, Shanti, which she has never ever felt before. It was great Shanti. She did not even know what Shanti was. How can you have Shanti? Because if you're living in the forest by yourself, you're a child, you're a yuva, okay, you're 14, 15 years old, you're living in the forest, and there are so many wild animals, ghora mrigangal. There are so many wild animals living in the forest. So how can you sleep soundly at night? You have to always be cautious. If there's some lion coming or tiger coming, something, there's a leopard pouncing on you, you have to always be aware of this, right? So Shabari is always constantly clouded by those thoughts. She never felt this Shanti ever before. And Shanti, we see, is it's an immediate byproduct of Guru Kripa. We see Guroho Anugraheneva Puman Purna Prashantaye. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we see in Kuchela Upakhyanam, even though Kuchela is Daridra, even though Bhagavan is Shriyapati, both of them have the same Shanti. How? Because of Guru Kripa. And this Guru Kripa in this forest is acting like a force field. If we take Dhruva Charitram, there is a reason why when Dhruva did tapas for 5 months, no Sura or Asura came to, break his tapas. There was one reason, because Narada Maharshi created a force field around there. He created a force field. These Devas and Asura could not even come close to that place. Narada even asks, there are so many Gora Mrigangal Dhruva. How are you going to go, 5-year-old child? How are you going to go and do tapas? And when he saw that Dhruva had the Nishta, the Guru takes care of everything. He created this force field. And when Shabari reaches this Pampavana, she sees all absurdities. She sees a lion and a deer are playing together. She sees, all of these, absurdities. We think of it as absurdities, but Gurunathar, as if we would like to give it a quantum physics definition, Gurunathar is the singularity. Gurunathar is the singularity. And anything close to our Gurunathar, whether it be Anukulam or not, has to become Anukulam, right? There is no choice for it, no matter how he may be. It's the same case with Bhagavan, because Garuda Arvan is a Vahan of Bhagavan. Adisesha is the bed of Bhagavan. Both are mortal enemies by nature, but they are living Anukula. They are living with Anukula when they are in Bhagavan's presence. Similarly, in Gurunathar's presence, everything has to be Anukula. And we also see this in our Adi Shankaracharya's Charitram, where when he's doing the Matastapaka, right? And when he's doing the mats across India, when he comes to Shringeri, he sees the snake protect a frog. That's how he actually does the Stapana there, that, this place is divine. And you have to do the Matastapaka here. And that's how he picks Shringeri as a matter of fact. And now Shabari enters this Vana, and she sees all of this, and she's enjoying everything. She doesn't even know what enjoyment is, because to a person who has not tasted sugar, if you tell them sugar is very, very sweet, if you have it, it's so sweet, you will want to keep having it. If a person has not tasted sugar, they will say, I don't know what you're talking about, right? So I don't even know what sweetness is. I've never had that anubhava. So how will I appreciate if you tell me sugar is so sweet, sugar is so maduram, honey is so maduram? If you say that, how will they appreciate it? Because they don't even know what sweetness is. But just the mere force field of her Gurunathar gave her this knowledge and gave her this, rasa bhava, that Shabari is now appreciating all the nature around her. She's looking at the trees and saying, such vishala trees, such huge trees. Look at how beautiful it is. Look at the greenery around here. Look at how these animals and birds are living in peace and harmony. She's looking at this all, and she's awestruck, and she's walking through this Vana, and she hears a sound. She hears a sound. It's a very faint sound. So she goes close to it. And when she hears the sound, she does not understand what the sound is, because she has not received an education, right? She now guess what the sound was. But it was actually the Samagana, which was coming from Matanga Maharishi's ashram. Matanga Maharishi's ashram was close by to that forest near the Vana next, close to Pampasaras was Matanga Maharishi's ashrama, and his disciples were chanting the Sama Veda. They were chanting the Samagana. Samagana is so pleasing to the ear, right? But Shabari did not know all that. Shabari just heard and thought it was some noise, and she walked towards it. And as she was getting closer, just like how during our Pratama Darshana, when we have a Pratama Darshana of our Guru Maharaj, just how whenever we get closer, how that excitement builds up multifold, right? Same way, Shabari had this feeling which she could not describe, but as she was getting closer and closer to the sound, she felt something, but she did not know what it was. She was in ecstasy, and she looked from far. She looked from afar. She could see these people walking. And just by entering that forest, she has not got darshan of her guru. She has not talked with him, anything. She has not done anything. He has not even seen her. Okay, because generally we say guru's nayana diksha is enough, but the guru has not even seen her. But just that presence of that force field which I'm talking about gave her the jnana that, oh, this must be some, there must be some great rishis. They must be doing Bhagavad Aradhana. They look like that. How did she get this knowledge? Just by that force field, not even his Nayana Diksha, force field. She got this knowledge. And there is this one particular Rishi who is her Gurunatha. She sees that he has Agni Tejas. He has the Tejas of Agni, and he's walking. And she's mesmerized looking at them. And she thinks to herself, our life is Vyartham. What have we done so far? We have, just eaten the deers and rabbits and whatnot. We have eaten all these animals. What is the prayojana of our life? We should do Kainkarya. Such a great thought from, it went 0 to 100, when we talk about cars, we say what's the acceleration, right? From 0 to 100. In Sabari's case, it was 0 to 100 in 1 second, because right as she stepped into the forest, she got all this jnana. So she was, looking at her guru, who she didn't know was her guru yet, but she felt this akarshanam towards the guru. And as I already established earlier, Bhagavan and Guru are the same, right? And Bhagavan in Vishnu Sahasranam has a name called Vashatkaraya Namaha, which means the one who can attract everyone, which applies to the Guru as well, right? Because if Guru and Bhagavan are one, then Guru's qualities and Bhagavan's qualities can be mapped to one another, right? So Guru is Vashatkara, right? So he's pulling her with that Akarshana Shakti, which Gurunathas they have. And Shabari wants to do service, but she doesn't know what to do. And then she thinks of what to do. She Nityam Pampatata Udisatam Paddati Sodayanti Tesham Ashramam Arjananta Shabari Kurvantyado Shraddaya. What this Shabari is doing is, these rishis, right? These rishis, Matanga Muni was such a great rishi. He was a Mahatma, he was a Paramajnani, he was a Brahmanishta. He was living along with his Shishyas in that ashrama, and they used to do Upanishad Vicharam. They used to do, they used to read, they used to recite the Vedas. They used to understand the Artha of the Vedas, Shastras, Puranas. That's what their day-to-day looked like. And the start of any Mahatma's day begins very early. Mahatmas rise very early. They rise in the Brahma Muhurta, right? Because Matanga Muni, every day, Brahma Muhurta, he and his Shishyas used to go to this Pampa Saras. Saras is a lake. Pampa Saras to do their snana. And Mahatmas, they do not take 5-10 minute showers, right? When they go and do snana, they do all their nitya anusthana, they do their ablutions to Surya Bhagavan, to Bhagavan himself, and they do their nitya anushtanas, and if they have upasanam, they do that Agni Hotram, they do all their nitya karmas. So that begins off with snana, right? Brahma Muhurtam is like 3 a.m. They get up at 3 a.m. and they go. But Shabari, before even they're going at 3 a.m. in the morning, But Shabari, even before that, what she does is she comes up with a very thoughtful solution. She sees that the path that is the ashrama is not on Pampa Thiram. You have to understand the geography. The ashrama is not on Pampa Thiram, which is it's not on the banks of River Pampa. It is about 7-8 kilometers from Pampa River. It is that far from Pampa River. So there was this path which these Matanga Munivar and his Shishyas had to take to reach that place in 3 a.m. Imagine all the creatures are lurking at 3 a.m. All the nocturnal creatures are lurking at 3 a.m. And our Matanga Maharishi and his Shishyas used to take snana at that time. And Shabari saw that, oh, what is this? Such a great Mahan is walking, and this path is laden with all of these, dirtiness. It is so ashuddha, it's so unclean. And I see so many, shrubs which can make someone fall. Those roots which are very low, they're low hanging roots, right? If you don't look carefully and walk, you will fall in the forest, right? So she sees all this and she thinks, I should clear the path as my Kainkarya. I should clear the path to their snana. So she gets up even before them. They already go at 3 a.m. She gets up before them and she does thorough cleaning of this path. And she already picks out the flowers and fruits for Matanga Munivar's, karyas for the day, his puja, etc. She already picks out all of that in advance, keeps it in a basket and leaves. She does not even tell who did it. That is Nishkamya Bhakti. Even without she does not know what karma yogam is or anything, but she's doing Nishkamya Bhakti. She's just doing the service and expecting nothing out of it. So Bhagavan wants us to be in Bhagavad Gita, right? As well as Bhavartha Deepika. So Bhagavan wants us to be. And she's been doing this every day. She's been doing this every day for about 1-2 months. She's been doing this every day for about 1-2 months. And Matanga Munivar noticed. Matanga Munivar noticed and asked his Shishyas, whoever's doing this Kainkarya, great job. What a Kainkarya. What do you want? Come forward, I will give you whatever you want. Because the Guru is happy. We see Prayachati Guru Preeto, right? We saw last week, Prayachati Guru Preeto. All that is important in our life is to make the Guru happy. That is the easiest way to do Karma Yogam. Because Karma Yogam is very difficult. As it's given in Jnaneshwari, Karma Yogam is very difficult when you have to do a karma without expecting anything. But what they say is, what Jnaneshwar Maharaj says is, you do karma, you do it with a goal which is Shrestha. You do it for an Uttama goal and nothing will happen. You don't worry. You just keep doing the karma. And being a Bhagavan Labharti or doing anything for the Guru's Preeti is the highest thing which you can ever do. So she's, she's been doing this constantly. She's a natural karma yogi. And Matanga Munivar finds out and he's asking his Shishyas, and his Shishyas reply, no, Guru Maharaj, we don't know who this is. None of us have been doing this. And then he tells the Shishyas, see, you should find out who it is. Because if they're doing for some Kamyartham, they might be doing it for some Kamyartham. They expect something out of their service, which is completely valid because they're doing such a great service. Let us give them whatever they want. You find her by tomorrow and you bring her to me. And they agreed. And next morning, before Matanga Munivar goes for his snana at 3 a.m., his Shishyas went at 2 a.m. to the Pampa Thiram. Like they are going on the path to Pampa Thiram and they see Shabari. Shabari is, sweeping all of that place. She's making sure it is tidy. And she sees these two big rishis coming towards her and she's scared, right? Both are, as we know, it is Treta Yuga. So their heights are a lot taller. They're a lot taller than us. So imagine if they're 14, 15 foot and they come, two of them at 2 a.m. and you can't see anything. Shabari was startled and Shabari says, no, I did not do anything. Please forgive me. I will not do this anymore. Before even they begin anything, she already starts pleading. And they say, wait, mother, we did not come here to, reprimand you or anything. We just came here to ask, just wanted to investigate because our Gurunathar wanted to know who has been doing this Kainkarya for so long, who has been doing this great Kainkarya, and it was none of us, right? It was none of us. So we wanted to see who it was. So they found out that it was Shabari, and they said the Gurunathar wants you immediately. So we are going to take you to the ashram. And she said, please, please, no, I did not do any mistake. Please forgive me. And they tell her, don't worry, our Gurunathar is a Karunya Swarupa. He just wants to do something to you. He just wants to do Kripa, and he wants to do Anugraham to you. So please come with us. And Shabari goes reluctantly. And once they reach the ashrama, Matanga Munivar asks Shabari, that is the Pratama Darshana she's getting of her Gurunatha, and she's awestruck. She has no words to say. And Matanga Munivar asks her, Oh, oh child, you've been doing such a great Kainkarya. What do you want? You can ask me anything. And Shabari immediately replied, Oh Gurunatha, I don't want anything. I did not do this with any intentions in my mind. But if you want to give me something, please let me do this Kainkarya over and over again. That he asked for more Kainkarya. And Matanga Muni was so surprised because he has been doing Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Pravachan, right, to all of his Shishyas. And he knows it is so Durlabham. And he sees this Veduvachi, this forest, this woman of forest clan who has no samskara, nothing. And she's perfect Karma Yogi. And he's delighted by that. The Gurunatha is always delighted when they see the Uttama Shishya, and he lets her do all of that. And then she does all the Kainkarya. Kashtam, Pushpa Palani, Gora Vipinate, Ahritte Yacyantapi, Pritim Prapa Param Swakiya Sukrudehi, Shigram Matangasya Sa. Shigram Swakiya Sukrudehi, Shigram Matangasya Sa. Kashtam is logs. They used to use biofuels back in the day, right? To do cooking or any other activity, they used to use logs. So Shabari used to collect the logs. Yeah, imagine. Even in her old age, she used to collect logs. She used to cut down whatever is required, and she used to bring it. She used to clean the ashrama. She used to do rangoli, which is kolam, which we say. She used to do that and decorate the ashrama beautifully. She used to have all of what her Gurunathar needs, any pushpa, any phala, anything. She used to have it ready even before he asks her. Just like our Sudarshan Arvan, he finishes the task before even Bhagavan, brings him up, right? Just his thought is enough, and Sudarshan Arvan go and finish the job. So just like that, Shabari used to do all of the Kainkarya without fail, and she used to do this without the Gurunathar's agnya, meaning our Gurunathar did not ask Shabari do this, Shabari do that. She did that all before even it came to his mind. That's how devoted she was to her Gurunathar. And this was going on. And just like our Uddhava Swami got old, he got old doing Bhagavan Seva. He did not even realize he was getting old, as we say in Srimad Bhagavatam. We say, Kalena Jara Sangataha. He became old when Kala passed, but he did not even realize that because he was constantly in the Seva of Krishna. Just like that, Shabari was constantly in Seva of her Gurunathar. She did not realize she was becoming old. And one day, there was a lot of commotion in the ashrama. There was a lot of commotion in the ashrama. And Shabari was wondering what was going on. Because as we know, right, when a Gurunathar is there, everything is anukulam. So there's no reason for a commotion. But if she sees commotion, that means there is something extraordinary about to happen, right? So you see, Chitrakuta Sthita Pavitra Charitre Shri Raghuvira Samahatma Chintayan Raghavam Chinmaya Rupam Prasasta Prapto Brahma Sama Sabari Dukhita Sadguru Virahena Sabari Dukhita Sadguru Virahena. Seems the Shishyas were in such a commotion because Matanga Munivar was about to leave this world. He was about to leave his mortal coil, and Mahatmas know beforehand when they are about to leave, and they leave their body in different ways. Some of them do Jala Samadhi. In the case of our Matanga Munivar, he did Agni Pravesha inside the Agni Kunda, in the Tapa Agni, the Yoga Agni. He was about to go inside, but before that, he wanted to give all of his Shishyas. He wanted to give all of his Shishyas whatever they wanted because of how much ever Kainkarya they did to him. So he calls everyone. He calls Gautama, come here. What do you want? And Gautama asks, Gurunatha, I'm very, very poor. Please, please, please grace me. Please make me a Dhanikan. And immediately agrees. By Gautama, I don't mean Gautama Maharishi. It was the common practice in the Prachina Kala to address someone by their Gotra. So Gautama is someone from the the lineage of Gautama. And when you say Bharadwaja, it means someone from the lineage of Bharadwaja Maharishi, right? So he calls Bharadwaja, you come here. What do you want? And he asks, Gurunatha, I want great Pandityam. Just like in our Mahaprabhu's Charitram, we have our Dig Vijayi Panditar, right? He had Saraswati Kataksham. He has Saraswati on his tongue, and he could make 100 slokas about our Ganga Mata in an instant. That's how much Vidvat he had. This this Bharadwaja, he wanted that kind of Vidvat so that he could do the Chanda Prachanda, the debates, and he could win. He would be undefeated. Guru Maharaj said, okay, granted. All of your wishes are granted. But he had this great dhana. He had this great dhana which nobody was asking for. Imagine you have the most precious diamond, and someone comes and asks you, can I have $100? How will you feel? Right? You have the greatest thing available, but everyone is asking for such low material things. But he wanted an Uttama Adhikari. He did not want to just give it away because it was such a great dhana. And what is that dhana? Taraka mantram ghorahitvartam samtahitvarta matanga munihe tamara saksham chintayan hridaye tat paramam padam prapta mone sabari dukhita Tadirahena Sabari Dukhita. So he had this Taraka Mantram. This Ramanama Dhana was the greatest Dhana Matanga Munivar had. And all of these Shishyas were going one by one. They went inside, they asked whatever they want, they came out crying. One disciple went, he asked whatever he want, came out crying. Sabari saw this and she wanted to at least get the Antima Darshana of her Gurunatha. She was very conscious of niyamas. She never used to go close to her Gurunatha, because she was a forest woman. So she never forgot that. She always maintained her niyama. She never went in when the Gurunatha was doing something. So she still maintained it, but she wanted to at least be like, at least get Antima Darshana. At least get Antima Darshana. So she's speaking from outside. He's sitting in a room and she's speaking from outside. And then comes a voice, Shabari. And then Shabari cannot believe her ears. And two Shishyas come out. Shabari ma, yeah, Gurunatha is calling you. Me? Gurunatha is calling me? He says, yeah, you go now immediately. And our Shabari Mata, she goes inside, and Matanga Munivar asks, Shabari, what do you want? What do you want? And Shabari says, Gurunatha, you asked me the same question the first day I came to you, but this incompetent self cannot decide anything for myself. So whatever is hitam for me, you please give it Gurunatha. Because as our Adi Shankaracharya beautifully puts it in Prashnottara Ratnamalika, he says, Ko Guruhu, who is a Guru? Shishya Hitaya Udyataha Sadguru, which is the person who constantly thinks about his Shishya's Hita is a Sadguru. So she tells, Gurunatha, you know better than me. Whatever is hitam for me, you please give it. And Matanga Muni was pleased beyond belief. and he wants to give her this greatest dhana. He thinks that she is the Uttama Adhikari, and she tells her, I am going to give you the greatest dhana I have, which is the Taraka mantra. Rama, 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 Rama. She gives her the Rama Namam, gives her the Rama Namam. And then Shabari asks, Gurunatha, I don't know any samskara. I don't know any of this. I have no education. She became a tapaswini. In all these years she was serving, just by kataksham of her Gurunatha, just like our Ekanath Maharaj, he just served. One instant he got all the knowledge, just like that. Shabari, through the Diksha of her Guru Maharaj, she gained all the knowledge. She became a great tapaswini as she was serving. So it's not like she did not know anything, but she still had that much devotion to her Gurunatha. And she said, Gurunatha, I'm not the Adhikari for this. And Matanga Munivar says, you just told me that I know what is Hitam for you. So why are you interfering and telling me that am I Uttama Adhikari or not? That is for me to decide. So Matanga Munivar says, you can chant this anywhere. Kala Vela Nama Ucharita Nahim. You can chant this any time of the day. You can chant this any number of times. It does not have a specific count like Gayatri Mantra 108 or 1008. It does not have a specific limit. You don't need any anushtana or prior prior activities to be done before you chant. You don't even need to take a shower. You don't need to brush your teeth. You can chant it constantly. And our Narayana Tirthar, beautifully in his Krishna Leela Tarangini, he describes this and he says, the Nama, right, this Rama Krishna Nama is also a pravaham, just like Ganga, just like our Yamuna Mata. Nama is a pravaham. The only difference is when you enter Ganga or Yamuna, there are certain regulations you must abide by. You cannot just jump in whenever you want. There are certain kalas where the Gandharvas take their bath. There is certain kala when the Yakshas take their bath. You cannot go at an untimely manner. So there are restrictions. You have to face a specific direction. But our Narayana Tirthar says this Nama Pravaham. You jump in however you want. You do 2 somersaults and you jump in. You do whatever you want. But this Nama will grant you an even higher, even more elevated status than what you will gain by doing Prayaga Snana constantly. That is what you will gain by this Nama Pravaha. So he gives her this Rama Nama and he tells her, this Nami, right? This Nami, whoever is the beholder of this name, he will come knocking at your door. He is the Param Purul. He is the Brahma Tattvam. He will come knocking at your door, and you will feed him whatever phalas you have. He will sit and enjoy all of that, and then you will come and attain me. That's what the Gurunatha tells. But Shabari asks Gurunatha, won't it be better if you do puja? Because Bhagavan comes, I don't know anything. You are Sarvagyan. You can do better puja. You know everything. So how am I befitting for this? And Matanga says, Shabari, I can do puja and Bhagavan will come. That is fine. But I have this icha that Bhagavan should ask, where is this Shabari Mata's house? And he should inquire that and come. That is my icha. And Shabari asks, Guru Maharaj, if you go, what will I do? And he says, that is just for the outsiders. The outsiders, I am not visible. That's it. I'm just not visible to the outsiders. But to you, I will always be visible. When we take the Charitra of Nag Mahashe, which is Durga Charan Nag, he was one of the householder disciples of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. At the time of his death, when he was in his deathbed, he could see his Gurunatha. His Gurunatha already had gone back to his abode. But he could see his Gurunatha and he says, Gurunatha has come, put an asana. Gurunatha has come, put an asana. Right? So we cannot see it with our Samanya Drishti, but such Guru Bhaktas like Shabari can see. So Matanga Munivar tells her, Shabari, I will be ever present. And you know what is the pramana for this? The Pushpa Mala I am wearing today, I will leave it here, it will never wither. The Yoga Agni, you see the Agni, which is used for Agni Hotra, which I have done, that will always be ablaze. It will not go out. And finally, the Vastras which you have put out for drying, they will always remain wet. They will never dry. These are all signs and pramana to tell you that I am still with you and I'm always with you, Shabari. But I want you to see that Brahma Tattvam for yourself. All the gurus have this icha right? Like our Janardana Swami, he gave Dattatreya Sakshatkaram because he wanted to, right? Out of his icha. So, Matanga Munivar said that, and he left his mortal coil, and then Sabari Duketa Sadguru Virahena Sabari Duketa Sadguru Virahena. So what did Sabari do every day? Pratidinam Pampatiram Gatva Phalani Bahuni Swayam Grihitva प्रेम पूर्वकं प्रतीक्षमनास ब्रह्मादि दुर्लभं राघवमत सबरी दुखिता सद्गुरु विरहेण सबरी दुखिता. Pratidinam, she was going to this Pampatiram, Pratidinam Pampatiram Gatva. I told you Pampatiram is 7-8 kilometers away, and she was already old by now. But every day, just because the fruits near Pampatiram, generally near a water source, the fruits are sweeter, right? So to gather that for Ramachandra Prabhu, she does not know who Ramachandra Prabhu is. He doesn't, Gurunadhar didn't tell her what specific day and time he'll come in. So constantly she's waiting for his arrival, and every day it's a routine. She used to go to this Pampa Thiram, get all of the best fruits she could gather for Bhagavan. Phalani Bahuni Swayam Grihitva. It's not like she asked. There are some balakas in the ashrama, so most of the shishyas left, but there are still some, children. She did not ask them, hey, you go and fetch some fruits. She herself Swayam Grihitva. Even when Ramachandra Prabhu asks her, she's going to say, Swayam Grihitva Prabhu. For you, who else will do? Do I have any henchmen? I have to do it all myself, right? And what is the speciality is, just like how we have, citrus infused water, we have lemon infused water, like that this was prema infused fruits, bhakti infused fruits. Okay, this was that is why Ramachandra Prabhu was so saulabhyan. He came and sat down and have those fruits which we are going to enjoy. And at this time, Bhagavan was in Chitrakutam. Bhagavan was in Chitrakutam. And Shabari Anudinam, she used to do this. Think about it, 365 days here. The 12 years passed as she was doing this. Every day she used to wait, and she used to wait as if today Ramachandra Prabhu is going to come. Today Ramachandra Prabhu is going to come. Our Ramanujacharya is a very interesting incident where, generally when we associate birthdays, right, we all celebrate our birthday. There is a very different connotation which Ramanujacharya gave to that. He said, I'm getting closer to my death. I'm getting closer to my death. And they say that you have to be looking forward to your death like a marriage. That's what they say. You have to be looking forward to your death like a marriage, because you can attain Bhagavan, right? So they're like that. Shabari, every day, Anudinam, she is doing this. She does not even think once that I have collected so many fruits. This person has not come for 10 years straight. Why should I keep doing this? She did not even think that once, because of that Guru Bhakti she had. Not even an iota of doubt came in her. She did this every day. Dine dire taraka mantrameva sada jabanti. Dine dine, every day she used to do this taraka mantra japa. Every day she used to collect fruits. And when she saw that, it was sunset and people cannot move around that time, she was, filled with dukkha again. And whatever children they were there in the ashrama, she used to call them and say, come here, chant some Ramanama. Here are some fruits. And those children used to ask, Pati, who are you collecting all of this for? They say, Anna, it's a very big person, a very great person who was supposed to come today. Don't worry, he will come tomorrow. Don't worry, you have this fruit now. So every day she was waiting. And as Ramaswamiji said beautifully, Bhagavata Dharma is not about the final goal. Final goal is already given day one, which is moksham, right? He says that it is the path. This is such a beautiful, vibrant path, which we are enjoying the Bhagavan's leelas and rasa as we are going along the way, right? Even Shishupala attained Bhagavan, Kamsa attained Bhagavan. They all attained through different means. But it doesn't mean we have to, take a crash course like Kamsa or Shishupala and attain Bhagavan. You can do it in a very ramyam and, a very enjoyable fashion, which is what Ramaswamiji said in his Bhagavata Mahatmya Pravachana. And Shabari is waiting, and finally, after 12 long years of wait, after 12 years, imagine 12 years she has been like this, after 12 years of wait, finally, these two Ajanubahus, I don't have to describe Rama's beauty. It is, he's Tol Kandar, Tole Kandar. Yeah, once you see Rama, you cannot take your eyes off Rama. Such a Akarshana Rupam for Ramachandra Prabhu, along with our Lakshmana Arvan. Both of them are coming, and Ramachandra Prabhu is heading south, right, from Chitrakuta, and he's searching for this Shabari's ashrama. Now, think about this. Yesterday we saw in Aranya Kandam, Prabhu was filled with grief and sorrow about Sita Mata. But now he's taking a diversion to go and see Shabari Mata, because how much ever Taraka Mantra Japa she's doing, right? Bhagavan is pulled. It's like a magnetic force. Bhagavan, even though he's undergoing something, even though he proclaims himself as Atmanam Manusham Manye, he's pulled by this Taraka Mantra. And he asks, where is Shabari Mas ashram? Lakshmana, go and ask, where is Shabari Mas ashram? And they inquire, and one day they come knocking at our Shabari Mata's door. Shabari is delighted, because there can be only one person who knocks at the door, and she knows who it is. And she comes out, and it is Ramachandra Prabhu. And she had this dream of, in India, we have this place called the Thinnai, which is, it's an outdoor spot where people sit and have conversations. She wanted this Ramachandra Prabhu to sit there. She wanted to do Pada Seva to him, and then give him fruits, talk to him for some time, and then he can go about his way. He did not want, Swapna Darshana or anything like that, or, for, as we have seen in some of the Charitras, Bhagavan comes and vanishes immediately. She did not want anything like that. She wanted, Ara Amara, she wanted Bhagavan to, sit peacefully and talk to her, and, do massage to the Komala Charana of Bhagavan. And her dream had finally come true. Her Gurunathar's vAk had finally come true. And there's a beautiful conversation, beautiful samvadam between Ramachandra Prabhu and Shabari, which happens here. Ramachandra Prabhu is Purva Bhashi, right? Ramachandra Prabhu is an expert at talking. And tomorrow we are going to see Kishkinda Kandam, which our Mukunji is going to say. There is a beautiful sambhashana between our Anjaneya Swami and Ramachandra Prabhu. Anjaneya Swami is, you don't have to say, he's a Nava Vyakarana Pandita, so his language is on that level. Ramachandra Prabhu's response is it's in the even higher state. It's impossible to understand how Ramachandra Prabhu, uses his vAk siddhi, it's so beautiful. But here Rama speaks so sweetly. And, generally when you inquire someone, you have to understand who you are talking to, right? They say when you go to a Mahatma, you should not ask how are you? You should ask how am I? Because you already know they're jnanis. They don't have to attain anything more. You have to ask, how is my state of affairs? How am I doing? How much sanchita karma I have? How much do I have to undergo this birth? See, so you have to be cohesive to what the situation is, right? So Ramachandra Prabhu is an expert. He's an expert orator, and he asks all the relevant questions. Yes, kachitte nirjita vignaha, kachitte vardate tapaha, kachitte niyatah kopa, aharascha tapodhane. Bhagavan asks, kachitte nirjita vignaha. Shabaripati, all of your tapas, right? It has gone. All of your sadhanas. Has there been any blockage? Has there been any disturbances, or has everything gone successfully? See how beautifully he's asking. You can't go and ask Shabari Mata. Like Bhagavan asks different people in different ways, right? We see in Guha Sakyam, we saw in Ayodhya Kandam, when Bhagavan meets Guha. Guha is built like a bodybuilder, right? Bhagavan gives Guha a slap, and then he tells him, Guha, how are you? You've been I see you have been getting good porshanam. How are you? See, that's how he asks Guha. He cannot go ask Shabari Mata, right? What are you doing, Mata? you're so puny. Why don't you take more fruits or more ahara, right? You have to be conducive to what situation you're in. And Ramachandra Prabhu is beautiful at that. Yes, kachitte nirjita vignaha. Have you won over all the obstacles which were in your path? As our Guru Maharaj would say, even when you're doing Katha Shravanam, we have this karna pisas, which is uh, there are some devatas. There's also called tatas to devatas. They're always around us. That's why we should not talk anything negative, because there's a likelihood of it happening. But there's this karna pisas which prevents us from listening. There'll be one notification from your phone, something like that. It will strike at that moment, and it will divert your attention. It will try whatever it can to do it. So Bhagavan is asking, you're doing such a great sadhana. Has everything been well? And he's asking, Kachitte nirjita vignaha. As tomorrow's Vinayaka Chaturthi, he's asking, is your path, uh, not of obstacles? Because Vinayaka is called the remover of obstacles, right? Vigna is obstacle. It's the remover of obstacles, right? So it's very apt that we are enjoying this today. So he is asking, Kachitte nirjita vigna, Kachitte vardate tapaha. Sabarima, is your tapas growing, or did you stop doing all the sadhanas? Ramachandra Prabhu beautifully asks, have you been doing all of that? You did several severe austerities. That's what it looks like. Have you been doing all of that? Then Kachitte niyata kopa. You see that no matter what you do, if you cannot control your anger, there's no point. Because Vishwamitra was great tapasvi. He could do tapas like nobody else. He was so great at tapas. But he had kopa. So what happened was, imagine you are filling a water bottle, but it had a hole. As you are filling it with tapas, it is going out one end because of kopa, right? So he's asking, Kachitte niyata kopa, have you kept your kopa in an ankusha? And kopa is directly correlated to food. And that's why he asks, aharascha tapodana. Because if you control your food, as Bhagavan says, because food is basically a composition of sattvika, rajasika, and tamasika gunas, right? So if you have sattvika ahara, it will help you in tapas. That is why our Dhruvan consumed fruits and vegetables. He did not consume meat, right? And Shabri Mata did not consume meat. She used to, right? But she does not consume meat. She only consumes, fruits, whatever she can find. And that too, specifically, not the fruits you have to pluck. She used to wait for the fruit to fall down, and then she used to pick it up so that it doesn't cause any harm to the tree. That's how she was. And Bhagavan is asking her, Acha aharascha tapodana. And then Bhagavan asks, Kachitte niyama praptaha, Kachitte manasas sukham, Kachitte guru sisrusha, Sabhala charu bhashini. So he asks, Kachitte niyama praptaha. Are you able to stick to your schedule? Is there anything that is causing a delay? Is there anything that is causing a delay? And then he asks a very valid question. Kachitte manasas sukham. Kachitte manasas sukham. Are you happy? Is your manas contented? Which we see, right, in our Guru Maharaj's Kirtan. Agacha agacha sajjana sangam, agacha durjana sangam, sajjana sange mana shantihi, durjana sange mano bhrantihi, agacha sajjana sangam, agacha durjana sangam. You have manas sukham, Mata, you have manas sukham. And then finally he asks, Guru Sishrusha Sapala. So he's coming to the foundation, right? All of this was building blocks. All of this was on top of this foundation of Guru Sishrusha. If all of this was successful and Guru Sishrusha failed, the building will still fall, right? So he asks her, has your Guru Sishrusha borne fruit? And Bhagavan addresses our Sabai Mata as Charu Bhashini. Now, we know that Rama is Satyasanda. He would not lie. And Shabari Mata has not spoken a word. She has not spoken one word since he has come, right? And he is proclaiming himself to be Atmanam Manusham Manne. So you cannot give any reason for him to know how she is Charubashi. But it automatically comes out because of that, Taraka Mantra Japa she has done. Just like how Anjaneya Swami came up with this original Rupa, like that Bhagavan is coming out with this original Rupa because of this Taraka Mantra power, right? So Shabari Mata answers very beautifully. She says, Adya Prapta Tapasiddhi. Right now, Rama, my Tapasiddhi, I attained it right now. And Ramachandra Prabhu, Party, what are you saying? I just came in, I just walked in. What are you saying? Your Tapasiddhi has been fulfilled. And Shabari Mata says, Tava Sandarshanata Maya. Tava Sandarshanata Maya. Bhagavan. And then Shabari Mata adds on, Adyame Sapalam Janma Guruvascha Supujitaha. Today I attained what is the goal of my Janma. Because she was very old, right? She was actually holding on to her prana because of her Guru's Agnya. Her Guru's Agnya was to meet Rama. It wasn't her Agnya. It wasn't her will to see Ramachandra Prabhu. It was what her Guru instilled in her. So for the Guru's sake, she had to keep her prana till Ramachandra Prabhu came. So she kept her prana. And now she says, Adyame Sapalam Janma. My Janmam has attained its fruit. Ramachandra Prabhu's Party, what are you saying? I got banished from my kingdom. I have nobody with me. My wife was taken away by someone. I am left with no dana, nothing. And you are saying that you did tapas to see me. What is this logic? And Shabari says, you can fool anyone, Rama, not me. You can say Atmanam Manusham Manye and fool even the Brahmadeva, not me. And Shabari addresses Rama very beautifully. She says, Tvai Deva Vare Rama. Very, very rarely you will see in Srimad Ramayana someone addressing Rama as Tvai Deva Vare Rama. You are not Manushya. Tvai Deva Vare Rama. You are the Sarvottama. You are the highest of, you are the creator. You are the one who sustains. You are the one who destroys. I know everything. You know why? Because she has Guru Kripa, right? She has Guru Kripa. So even if Bhagavan has that Maya the Anikachannam, she can see through it because of this Guru Kripa. It's like 3D glasses, Guru Kripa. She can see through it. She says, I know Rama, you can act like you're Atmanam Manusham Manye, but I know who you are. And Rama remains maunam after that. He does not talk. The more he talks, more he'll get in trouble. Ramachandra Prabhu does not talk. And Shabari Mata says, oh, we have been talking for some time now. We are both standing and talking. How cruel of me. Such Atithis have come to my house and we are both standing and having conversation. And she asks Ramachandra Prabhu and our Lakshmana Arvan to sit down in the Thinnai. And Ramachandra Prabhu reluctantly, Party, Venam, Party. But she insists and he sits down. And Lakshmana Arvan, as we know, he did not sleep that whole 14 years because of his deep desire to do Kainkariya to Ramachandra Prabhu. He did not sleep. And as such, he does not want any Sukha Bhoga. Because if his Anna is not going through Sukha Bhoga, why would he want it? Right? And he always wants Ramachandra Prabhu to receive all of that. So he stands while Ramachandra Prabhu is sitting down. And she says, Ningno Vango, you also come. And and Lakshmana says, no, it's fine. You do it for my brother, it's fine. And Ramachandra Prabhu forcefully brings our Lakshmana, makes him sit down with him. And it is so beautiful because generally when our grandmas, they massage our feet, right? That is the most that is the most peaceful time you've ever enjoyed, because the grandma, she knows exactly how much pressure to put in to do massage of your feet, right? So her hands, it was in Tamil you say idam, ரொம்ப இதமா இருந்தது. She as she was doing massage to Ramachandra Prabhu and Lakshmana Swami, she did that. And then she went to this place. It was small kutira. He went there and there were lots of fruits. Half the kutira was filled with fruits. She brought some of the fruits in a platter and she gave it to Ramachandra Prabhu and Lakshmana and said, please have some. And then Ramachandra Prabhu asked, Party, you collected all of this? She says, yes, me. Oh, do you have someone who collects it for you? And that's why we saw earlier, she says, I did myself, Rama. I went to Pampa Thiram and got it for you. It's all for your sake. And Rama is, as you know, Bhagavan is more unmata for bhaktas like this. So he consumes this bhakti and prema infused fruits, which even in Guha Sakyam, if you see, Rama touches it and acknowledges it. But Shabari Moksham, Shabari Charitram, he does one thing which he never does in Ramayana. He puts his hand as a yachika, like you know, generally you would have this mudra when you're asking something from someone. And being Raghava Simham, he never had that practice. But now, like without knowing, he put his hand forward because he was, awestruck, and he was just captivated by the bhakti which Shabari had. And then Bhagavan consumed the fruit. And as Bhagavan was consuming the fruit, Shabari did not talk about Rama's beauty. Generally, when you see Ramachandra Prabhu in Ramayana, whoever sees Ramachandra Prabhu talks about either his guna or his beauty. First time, Lakshmana Swami is shocked because Shabari was constantly talking about her guru, not Ramachandra Prabhu. She was having a conversation about this is where my Gurunatha used to do Agnihotram. This is where my Gurunatha used to do Anushtanam. This is where my Gurunatha used to do Upanishad Pravachanam. He's showing all of this to Rama and Lakshmana. And Lakshmana, Anna, Tol Kandar, what happened? She's talking only about her guru. And Rama enjoyed all of that because of seeing such a great Guru Bhakta. And finally, Shabari attained the fruit of her Janma. Shabari attained the fruit of her Janma. So she sat in a Padmasana. She sat in a Padmasana in the lotus-like posture. She put the mudras, which you would, and just like our Bhagavan describes it in Abhyasa Yoga, she has the mudras, and then she closes her eyes, taking one last look at Ramachandra Prabhu and Lakshmana Bhagavan, and she closes her eyes and she goes and attains the loka which her guru is in, not Vaikunta. She attains the lotus feet of her Gurunatha. Yatrete sukritatmano viharanti maharshayah tat punyam sabare sthanam jagama atma samadhina. So she attained the loka of her Gurunatha. And Ramachandra Prabhu and Lakshmana Arvan, after this, they were merely witnesses, right? They were merely witnesses. As even our Vedanta Desika Swami, in his work called Raghuvira Gadyam, he's describing this as Avandya Mahima Munijana Bhajana Mushita Hridaya Kalusha Sabari Moksha Sakshi Bhuta Jaya Jaya. Describes it as Rama and Lakshmana were merely Sakshi, they were witness for Shabari going and attaining the feet of her Gurunatha. And they continue to Rishyashinga Parvata, towards Rishyashinga Parvata, and this will conclude Aranya Kandam, one of the great bhagas of Srimad Ramayanam. And tomorrow we will see Kishkinda Kandam, the first time all of our favorite Hanumanji, who is also generally it's believed, not believed, it is a fact that Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakанjalim Vashpavari Paripurnalochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam. Wherever there is Rama Katha, generally we have a palaga or like a sthana for Anjaneya Swami to sit in. Generally we have a place for Anjaneya Swami to sit in, because everywhere there is Rama Katha, he's present with his head bent, with his palms folded, and shedding tears of joy, listening to Rama Katha about his Prabhu. So we pray that we get more satsangas, more nectarine accounts where we can do smarana of Ramachandra Prabhu's gunas and leelas, and do smarana of our Guru Maharaj's gunas and his leelas with us as Madhura Smaranam, as we all have Madhura Smaranam. Each of us has a personal connection to our Gurunatha. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to show my Kritagnyata, not show, as an arpanam for the Kritagnyata I have towards a particular person who is none other than Prasad Ji from Toronto God Satsang. Prasad Ji is the one who has been the central piece in our Satsang. He has been the central figure, and Prasad Ji has been the one who has spearheaded all the satsangs, and he's the one who trained me as well as Akshay Ji, who will be doing pravachanam later this week. And Prasad Ji, regardless of how much ever work he had, he still put in the time, to tell us about this Rama Katha, Krishna Katha, we are fortunate. We have such great bhagyam to have such a great satsanga and a person like Prasad ji. So I know a thank you is not really enough, but since this is vAk arpanam, I can only show my my kritagnyata through my vAk. So I really thank Prasad ji for preparing us, and also for Shriram ji for organizing this, and as well as all of the other esteemed Bhagavatas who have been listening to Rama Katha, this great Ramayana Mahotsava. And may we all get the opportunity to chant more Nama, get more satsangs, and finally attain the lotus feet of our Guru Maharaj, like how our Shabari Mata did. Janaki Kanta Smaranam, Jai Jai Rama Rama, Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe. Thank you so much, Aditya. It was a fantastic delivery of Shabari Moksham. Really glued us to the TV. Thank you so much again. Radhe Radhe. And we will see everybody in Satsang tomorrow.